So if you find in program file JAMOVI and JAMOVI2, and you will open it first time, so JAMOVI should open very quickly. That's also maybe the advantage of JAMOVI and JASP, that these programs are small and quicker, not only for opening, but also for computations in comparison, for example, with SPSS. So this is the first window of JAMOVI, or you can see that the window is split into more windows. So also the logic which is behind JAMOVI or JASP in comparison with SPSS is that you have more windows into one screen. I guess, at least for me, it's a slight advantage that it's not necessary to switch between individual windows. So for a simple introduction, here on the left, you can see some data matrix. Currently, it is expecting 3 variables A, B, and C. And on the right-hand side, it is prepared for outputs. As you will see, JAMOVI and the same properties available for JASP, they are fully interactive. So it means you will start computing and interactively, you will see first outputs directly. So that's quite nice property as far as I know. And at least students like it very much. And there will be also the third window here on the screen. So instead of this data matrix, it is possible if we will start some analytical procedures, as you can see here, some dialogues. So here on the left, you will see individual analytical procedures or menus. So it will be how it works. And if you like to move the sizes of these windows, that's very easy. You can go here and make it bigger or small, according to your opinion. And here, usually on the right side, there is also a small arrow by which you can make one window for the whole screen. So it is also very nice graphical interface property. So before we start to analyze some real data and to see how it works in JAMOVI, I would like also briefly to introduce you data management in JAMOVI. So first of all, let's imagine, and I know that this may be nearly a nightmare, that you would need to enter manually data into JAMOVI. It's possible. Of course, I know it's not maybe the best option, but if you have some small data set, it means some set of questionnaires in paper, and you would need to write it into data matrix, you can use this, I would say, maybe small spreadsheet to enter the data. So if I would like, for example, for variable A to enter data such as 1 to 3, I can type directly into this data matrix. As you can see that by default, these 3 first variables that are designed by default are nominal. You can see 3 circles with different colors. If you would like to change it, so now we are going behind the scene. In SPSS environment, you would switch from data view into variable view. So here, if you double click into individual variable, or another option is if you go here into variables, you would switch into, I would say, variable view in JAMOVI. So doesn't matter which option you would use, the result is the same. So I would double click into individual column. And here you can see variable view directly with also data and outputs. If you would like to see only variables, you can click here. And you can see that for individual variables, there is some technical name, which is here big letter A. Be careful for JAMOVI and JASP, and the reason is that behind SR or R project, small letters and big letters are not the same. So it means that JAMOVI and JASP are case sensitive. Variable small a and big A are different. And if you call for small a and your data is including only big A, JAMOVI or JASP will say, sorry, I'm not able to find this variable in your data set. In SPSS, it doesn't matter. SPSS is not case sensitive in technical names of variables. You can also in JAMOVI and JASP doesn't offer such an option, add variable label. So it means you can type some description here. So for example, if variable A would be age, you would type age or something what you would like to enter, and JAMOVI will remember also this property. Then next option is that you are defining measure type. You can see the same pictures and also 3 same types of variables that are also available in SPSS. So it means for nominal, 3 circles. For ordinal, 3 bars with different length. And for continuous, it is some measuring device, according to my opinion. So this is totally the same logic as in SPSS environment. The only one more option for JAMOVI is that you can also assign some variable as ID. For some procedures, it is also necessary to have ID in your data. And for these options, you can define some variables as ID variables. ID means it is identification for individual case in data matrix. So that's measuring type. You can also define date type. So it means that we are using some numbers, whether you would like to use some decimal places as well, or whether you would like to use text. So it means JAMOVI, and the same property can be applied also in JASP, can also use text data. Only if your data are text formatted, your variable must be by default nominal. For text data, there is no ordinal or scale option. And you can also, here by this dialog, we will go into this dialog next time in detail, you can also define missing values. So you can also exclude some values from your analysis. So once again, this is nearly the same as in SPSS environment.
Can I have a question? If I don't put any data at some line, how does it behave? Does it know that it's a missing value, or is it?
It will be missing value in JASP as well. Yeah. So last one, what I would like to comment here in this dialog for variables is that by default, if we entered 1, 2, and 3 options into a variable, so you can see that these are different levels, and there are no labels at all currently. So it means that if I would, for example, perform frequency table, we can show it. So I will close this dialog. I would go into analysis, and I would go into exploration, descriptives. And if I would like to ask for frequency table, so here I would ask for frequency table, it's not default. And I would take variable A from the left to the variables list. On the right, you can see the dialog, which is nearly the same as SPSS environment. So we can see very easily here, frequencies of A is, for the code 1, I have 1 unit. For code 2, once again, and for code 3 as well, 1 unit. You can see that by default in descriptives, there is also output which is available in SPSS in descriptives. So here, this exploration and descriptives combine descriptives and frequencies from SPSS environment. The same logic is applied in JASP. And if you would like, instead of levels 1, 2, 3, can find, for example, responses such as yes, no, I'm not sure, you need to assign some labels. And if you would like to assign labels to some variable, so you need, once again, into variables. We would go here into variables. And here, instead of code 1, I would type, for example, yes. As you can see that for yes, it is somewhere behind code 1. If you, instead of to code, I'm not sure, and click into enter, you can see that for the second option, there is I'm not sure description, and no option would be the last one for the third code. Of course, maybe it's not a very nice style, but it's still possible to assign labels into JAMOVI. And there is also a nice option, which is similar in JAMOVI and JASP. So you can also change ordering of categories by these arrows. I will not use it currently, but sometimes, especially for us during binary logistic regression, we will also use this option as it would help us to interpret results easily. So this is how we can assign technical name, description of the variable, so it means variable labels and value labels as well, and all the properties for variables. So this is the first introduction, and according to my opinion, this data management in JAMOVI is nearly at the same quality as SPSS. Only I would like to warn you that if you would switch into JASP, there is no option to assign variable label in JASP, and all the properties, all the rest properties are nearly the same. So that's all about these outputs. I pause it. So I guess, and that's interactive feature of JAMOVI, you can see directly that my table of output is changing. So instead of 1, 2, 3, I have your yes, I'm not sure, and no. It is mostly advantage, but I must say that sometimes this can be also disadvantage. As JASP and JAMOVI, if you change anything, you change coding, order of codes, maybe that you filter data, so it means you select only some subgroup of cases, it will change all outputs immediately. So in SPSS, you know that if you are performing computation for all cases and next procedure only for limited amount of cases, so you would get different results. In JASP and JAMOVI, in the time you will change any property in description of your data, in filtering of your data, all outputs are all changing. Especially if you have quite a lot of outputs, it can be also slightly time consuming. So be careful if you would like, for example, to make all procedures for male group and all procedures for female group, you would need to run JAMOVI 2 times. So that's slightly different logic, but still, I guess it's acceptable. But this interactivity is very, very nice. Once again, if I go into analysis and I would try to once again, for example, compute anything before I'm starting to define variables, JAMOVI or JASP is the same, is prepared for output. That's very nice. And only you will move variable, for example, variable B, you would get some results. Here, as variable B is blank, so there are no valid results. Okay, so that's all about, I would say, basic intro into data management. And last one step I would like to introduce you today is some, I would say, preliminary data transformation steps that can be performed via JAMOVI. Once again, if I compare capabilities of JAMOVI, JASP, and SPSS, SPSS is the best one for data management. JAMOVI would be the second one, according to my opinion, and JASP is currently the worst one. If you don't know R programming code, you are not, for example, able to recode anything in JASP. In JAMOVI, it is still quite easy option. So we would go currently into the next step. So I would define some data into B column to have some data for recoding. So I would type, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's imagine that these are answers from definitely yes to definitely no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, if you like, you can add labels. That's your decision. You can see that if you add labels currently, you can see also in data matrix these labels directly. And our goal, first of all, would be that we would like to take these 5 codes and we would like to reverse coding. So if there is 1, there should be 5. If there is 2, there should be 4. 3 would be still 3, etc. You know that for many analytical reasons, you sometimes need to reverse coding. So that's quite often procedure. And we will learn how we can perform such procedure via JAMOVI. So there are at least 2 options how we can perform such procedure. If I ask you, if you're familiar with SPSS, which procedures can be applied in SPSS for this reverse coding? Recode is one option, but maybe too difficult. And second one would be, you can also use compute. If we have codes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's very easy to apply computation to take 1 more than is maximum. So here, if maximum is 5, 1 more is 6. And if I take 6 minus the value for individual case, I would get reverse coding. So the easiest option how reverse coding is to take 1 more bigger number than is the maximum and minus the variable, and that's reverse coding. So now we will show how it works in JAMOVI environment. So if I would go into data, this is the next option. So we are familiar with variables, we are familiar at least with the beginning of analysis. So you can find here some data procedures. And here behind the general label transform, you can find recoding as well as computation. In SPSS, it is divided in many different procedures. But once again, you know that basic dialog in SPSS is transformation. So here it is nearly the same, only there is a limited number of options here in comparison with SPSS, as SPSS is offering automated recoding into some special categories, etc. So if you click into transformation, there are many options. And you can define your own computation transformation. And there is, I would say, something like duplicity in JAMOVI. You can also click for computation into compute option. So there are 2 options. So it depends on your decision. So maybe first of all, I will use compute as it is maybe easier. And you can see that automatically, if I'm clicking into compute, new one variable is emerging here, and automatically it is variable that is defined as cardinal. As it is expected that you will be computing some cardinal variable by some mathematical formula. So it is automatically described as variable D. If you would like to change it, feel free. Only my recommendation, general recommendation for statistical procedures, don't use more than 8 digits or letters, as 8 is usually maximum for non-commercial packages. Of course, SPSS can handle more. And don't use symbols than letters from English alphabet, underline, and maybe numbers. Still, there are a lot of combinations here. You can also assign some variable label, and here it is expected that you will assign some formula. So if I would like to have D, which would be 6 minus B, once again, we are reversing these codes. So I would type 6, sorry for this typo, minus, and big B must be written here. Small b would be non-existing variable. Be careful once again about it. And if I click here, automatically, I hope so, after enter, you can see a result. So 1 would be original in B variable, 5 in reverse coding variable. And it seems it works. So that's about computation. And once again, the same steps, once again, that small duplicity can be also performed via transformation. But transformation is slightly more general. So last step today would be that we will try to see how to perform recoding. So it means how we can change coding scheme. For example, we will decide into merging category 1 and 2 and all the rest. So we will make binary variable from original 5 codes. So by transformation, you can once again create new one variable. I would like only to show you a small, I would say, but nice property in JAMOVI. The same property can be found also in chess, that if some variable is computed or transformed from previous variables, you can find these small dots. They are usually gray or black, and it means these variables are somehow transformed or recomputed from previously defined variables. And also very nice property, which is applied in chess and JAMOVI, is that all these transformations are included directly in data matrix. And if you would like to change it, you can go back into the variable and change these transformations. In SPSS, you will only compute results, and there is no way back, no changing. You would need to compute it once again. Here, you can go back into this transformation. So here we are computing variable automatically. It is assigned as G2. So I would decide, for example, variable E. That's your decision. Then you must select the source. So if you would like to recode the variable, I would take the variable as the source one. And then you can select which transformation can be applied automatically. None transformation. And if you like to create some new transformation, you can select many different functions and procedures. You can also assign the name for this transformation, and the same transformation can be applied to more than one variable. That's also a very nice property, I guess. So if you go into transformation, here you can assign some label. Automatically, it is discussed as transform 1. So you can assign some description in the next style. So for example, now we will be recoding 1, 2 into 1 and the rest 1 into 0 option or something like this. And then here you can use this plus icon for recoding conditions. So mainly for recoding, you can use these procedures, but there are many more functions behind the scene. If you would click here into FX, you would find all functions that are available. So I would click into this 2 options, and if you would like to recode into 2 options, you need only 2 rows. So if, and there is string source is something like this, then use some option. So I would try to type it. I must admit that I'm not using JAMOVI for this procedure, so maybe I can make some mistake. So in the first row, I guess that I would need to type if the source is lower than 3, so it means codes 1 and 2, use, and I guess if I would like to use code 1, I would type use 1. And else, so it means codes 3, 4, 5, I would use code 2. 0, sorry, 0 we decide. And now it seems it works. So for first options, 1 and 2, first 2 rows in my data matrix, I can see for E column 1, 1, and for all the rest 0. And the same style, only you would need to add more rows for recoding, can be applied to some recoding into more categories. Once again, very easy style and no necessity to know about programming language which is behind the scene. For chess, there is no such nice option, and you would need for recoding to apply R code. So this is quite easy. And last one step, and I know we will be slightly longer, but I promise that in 2 minutes we will finish today. I will show you how to implement data from external sources into JAMOVI. JAMOVI, as well as chess, as they are very similar to SPSS, So it's quite easy to guess that also SPSS data file can be very easily implemented or imported into JAMOVI. So if you click here into these three lines on the left upper corner, so you can click into open, I guess, and you can try to find a data file, and you can see that there are quite a lot of formats here. JAMOVI files are ending with the extension OMV. We will be using these files as at the end of our analytical procedures. JAMOVI will not only save data file, but also all outputs and also all inputs. So OMV format is for all the work which was performed in JAMOVI. The same logic is applied in JESP, only there is different format and different name, which is called JESP format. You can see that you can implement CSV or TXT format. These are maybe the most general formats for data. You can also implement ODS, so it's analogy to Microsoft Excel in free calc platforms. Excel format, XLSX. You can also, and that's what we would like, choose apply SPSS files, not only SAV, but also POR format. Our data files can be implemented, and from Stata and SAS. If I compare these capabilities with JESP, so JESP is much more limited. JESP can handle only JESP files, that's easy, CSV or TXT, and from SPSS. There is no option to open JAMOVI file in JESP, that's competitor, and also Stata and SAS cannot be implemented into JESP directly. So I would choose SPSS data file, and I would need to find the place where I saved the data file. So it would be in downloaded files. I will find UBS99CZ, and I guess if I click into open, sorry for check here, so it should work. So currently it seems it's opening. You can see the data file is quite big one, so it's maybe slightly time consuming, but I guess at the end we will succeed and data file will be open for us. If you are opening data file and you are previously working with some data file, so you will get two programs of JAMOVI working separately. So every time you open new data, JAMOVI is open next time. So my recommendation is every time open only one data file and only one license of JAMOVI. And currently you can see that it seems it works. Currently we imported data from European Value Study. And if you go into variables, so you can see that all variables are somehow described. So the first variable, which is substantive, is V1, importance of work, etc. And also, if we would go into details, so for example here, for importance of work, you can see that also all options are defined here. There are also some options that should be maybe excluded, such as NAP, NA, DK. So maybe that some missing values should be defined, etc., etc. But you can see that's very easy to import a data set into JAMOVI environment, and the same style can be applied also for JESP. So that's all for today. My apology that we are slightly long.